6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening and welcome back to the Premier League review 2022-23. The weekend review though, first weekend, football's back. I'm absolutely buzzing. And we've got some cracking lads in the background ready to come on and discuss the full weekend's action. There's a few unhappy faces, but there's some beautiful faces and happy faces as well. So before we get started though, hit the subscribe button, the usual stuff. Please consider becoming a member. The link is in the top of the chat. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, the dollar sign is in the bottom right-hand corner. Hit that, £1 and above. It's absolutely amazing. Let's bring in Pete first of all. How are you doing, Pete?
Very well, very well.
Obviously,
still delighted. Oh,
yes.
Still buzzing after that on Saturday.
And then let's bring in Mike in his garden.
Hey.
Do we get a better reception outside, do we?
Who knows? It's anyone's guess.
I can't wait for this. This is going to be fun.
At least you have a better frozen screen now.
Yeah, it's very picturesque there. I love that. All the trees and that. Brilliant. And let's bring in the loser.
Oh,
There's a door that leads to his basement from the garden.
He's been let out for an hour, so let's get on with it. Tom says, good evening. Hi from Angela Quinn. We've got Stapleton in again. I think it's Lee, isn't it? If I remember his first name right. Evening all.
Is he a Newcastle fan? If he is, then it's loser.
Oh, Jesus. It started already. Good evening, Paul. Thanks for joining as always. Brian, thanks for joining. Please, Paqueta, Jonathan, Bruno, Nom Luxury Football. Bit of a different show, but look out for a video at 9:30 that's set to drop on some news. Evening, guys. Got to be happy with the weekend's results. Mark's obviously a Newcastle fan as well. Evening, guys. All right, lads. We're getting Paqueta for 33 million plus add-ons. That would be amazing. Evening, gents. Newcastle, Callum Wilson's the best. Yes, he is. He's fantastic. And good evening, guys from Ghana. Thanks for joining, Ferdinand. So come on, then. We're going to have to jump straight into it, aren't we, really? Because it was the first game on Friday night. Palace 0, Arsenal 2. Shots on target, 2 from each team. Obviously, Arsenal were the most clinical, even though only one of them went in because it was an own goal for the second. As you can see, the scorer is in the bottom right-hand corner. I've got pictures of them there. So Martinelli opening the scoring and then an own goal. Come on, Steve. Obviously, this is your team. Obviously, it's not the greatest start to the season, but Arsenal's always a tough game. What did you make of it?
I think the way we played was decent, to be fair, and we dominated large patches of the game. Where we fell down was in two places. The good old set plays that haunt us, as they always do, and have done for the last couple of seasons. It seems that is going to continue, given that evidence, because it was unmarked at the back to head it back across. So it was really poor from that point of view. But it's the good old Palace, isn't it? You create these brilliant opportunities, you just can't finish. And Edouard had the whole of the left-hand side of the goal, and he pushed it to the right. It just made it an easy save. It looked a good save, but it made it an easy save for Ramsdale. And just after half time, I mean, that could have given us the impetus to really go at them. Eze was through on goal, had the whole of the right-hand side of the goal this time at his disposal. And he just tried to pass it through Ramsdale into the net, and it was just poor finishing from both opportunities. Granted, Edouard made Ramsdale save, a good save, but Eze just made it really, really easy, and that was it really. It's just inability to finish the opportunities and situations that we created, and and we conceded to them in poor fashion for the first goal. And the second goal, I mean, that's unfortunate. Anyone could have stuck their head in the way and it could have flown in. It's just how it is. It's just that angle. So I think it flattered them, the scoreline. But what didn't flatter them was the clinical ability to finish the chances they had. And, they needed to reverse the tide against us because we've had the upper hand over them for a fairly long time now.
There you have.
But, I'm not unhappy in the way we played. Eze was brilliant. He looked really dangerous. Wilf was really dangerous. And a big shout out to Anderson. His ball ability to play them balls he's phenomenal. So, there was lots of positives, but the negative is the fact that the scoreline says 0 and we lost.
Martinelli scoring a header as well. You wouldn't expect that, would you? One of the last people on the pitch you would expect to be in the box to score a header like that.
It was just easy, wasn't it? The ball came back across and there was 3 of them there marked by 2 people and unchallenged and just sort of scuppered it in really off his shoulder and his head. But it is what it is really. You just got to move on from that and couldn't get any harder against Liverpool next, unfortunately.
Yeah, you haven't got the greatest start to the season, have you? Conor Gallagher, is he a player who you're still sniffing around to bring into Palace? Do you need him as well by the
until the last day of the window? I think we'll keep going and keep trying. It all depends because now Chelsea are sniffing around Zaha. So there might be a deal there, a deal to be had that involves Gallagher, perhaps might involve Hudson-Odoi as well.
Yeah, 2 players apparently on our radar as well due to the Shelby injury, which we'll come to a bit later on. Mike, did you see any of the Palace-Arsenal game? I saw bits of it because I was at work.
I did. I watched it. I thought Arsenal, the first 20 minutes looked really good. Like Jesus was like quality, and then like Palace grew into the game. And I mean, the second half was virtually all Palace really till about the last 10 minutes. And I thought Arsenal were quite fortunate, but it showed a different side of Arsenal. I think last year they would have lost that game. This season they had a bit of backbone. They defended deep, and like I say, they were fortunate, but they did get the result in the end. Fortunate with the second goal. The first goal was well worked, and but set piece, and they had a chance just before that, which they should have scored. But Palace had some really good chances in that game as well. But yeah, I mean, I just thought Arsenal I was quite impressed with the fact how they defended and doesn't get a result.
Yeah, because Pete, the end of last season, Arsenal crumbled at St James's Park and they blew the chances of Champions League football. I was still worried with their defence going into this season, to be honest with you. I thought they hadn't strengthened in the right areas. Jesus' quality, though, that was a great signing, but they haven't strengthened at the back. But
I think Saliba's a quality player, and he's been out of
the
last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
He was 17 when he went there. He's now 20. I think he's matured. He's really worked in his favour to have those loans. And he looked really, really solid at the back there.
Yeah, I think it's his opportunity now.
Yeah. Any other standout performances for Arsenal or Palace that you saw that night, Pete?
Again, I thought Saliba was really good at the back. Jesus was quality. Martinelli looked very, very good as well. Another one who could get more of an opportunity now this season. Could be a really good season for Arsenal this season if they keep it up. Because their downfall can be like against the bigger teams is where they seem to fall at. This is where they've got to try and work on it now against the bigger teams.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's nice to see Eze back on form as well, Steve, because obviously he has injuries problems, but it's nice to see him put that behind him.
I said he would come back this season. He was never going to come back properly last season. He was just going to be phased in 50, 60 minutes here or there just to build that strength up. And pre-season he's been outstanding and he was brilliant against Arsenal. Unfortunately, other players weren't on his wavelengths at times and he didn't finish when he should have done.
Yeah, that's great. Even as panel, Brighton will be a real test where we are at the moment. Yes, next week's going to be very, very good, but we won't come on to that yet. Forest, definitely one of the worst performances from the first round. I mean, they never got touch of the ball, did they? Arsenal, best performance, fantastic score. Help it again at Brighton next game. I'm saying 1-1 draw or 2-1 away win. I don't reckon Man City and Newcastle are legitimate football teams. They are owned by regimes that completely disregard basic human rights. Anyone who supports them, represents them are, I mean, really?
Sorry, guys, can you just read that out again? Because I really, really like those words. The way he articulates his point is fantastic.
I'm definitely not. But there we go. But again, we're football fans. It's down to the governments to sort that sort of stuff out. So I think he needs to remember that. Mackham's in the chat by the looks of it. Exactly.
Wonderful, wonderful fan base. Can't be a Mackham.
Oh, man. Your name even makes you... Oh God, it's going a bit wrong, isn't it? Any news that David transfer from Spurs, mate? Yeah, 9:30. There's a video going to drop. Who's a Mac?
Sorry, guys. What was that bloke's name?
Cream pie something. There we go. Cream pie laws. It's
who's cream pie? Who's cream pieing anyone? Is it Sinclair on a burner?
I would take him seriously if he had a proper name. Whoever's the Mackham was leaving. You disagreed with the Mackham, though? You'd have to add a hell of a lot more teams to your list if you're looking at money from dubious regimes or sources. Exactly. Look at Chelsea. Look at Barcelona. Look at the Red Bull teams. Good evening, lads. Yeah, right. Palace lad drives me up the wall.
Evening, Matthew.
That's what he's here for. That troll was just on John's channel, the exact same comment. What a bitter, sad and delusional person. There we go. So it makes sense why he's on here now as well.
Who was that one?
He's obviously trolling. That's cream pie, whatever he's called.
Proudlock, would you say that his comment was quite juicy from the cream pie? Proudlock's
I think he's looking through the comments, to be fair. Right, let's go to the early kickoff on Saturday. So the man that we spoke about quite a lot last season, Mitrovic, whether he would do it this year or not. Would anyone take a gamble? Nobody did. Fulham have kept a hold of him, and he's shown his just rewards. I think Mitrovic, and I did say this to you guys as well, this could be his season. He's matured now. In the 2 goals he scored, and he bullied the Liverpool backline at times. It was an exceptional performance from him. And they deserved the draw. Even Klopp came out and said, Pete, that they didn't deserve anything more than a draw, and they were lucky to get that.
Yeah, I mean, I caught bits of this game. I thought Fulham played very well. They give it a really, really good go. I really, really thought they did. Like after they scored, they could have had another chance to score another after they hit the post. I thought they gave Liverpool a good game.
Yeah, definitely.
And you on about Klopp there as well. Not to mention his whingy excuse after the game. The pitch was too dry.
I think there's been too much focus being put on those forwards. If you watch the whole interview, he actually does say his team didn't deserve to win. They weren't up to scratch and blah, 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 blah. But everyone seems to have focused on those 4 words, which a lot of people do. Because, if you read all the headlines, all it is. I know, I don't know why he said it. He just said it in jest, I think. I don't know if he really, really meant it. But his whole interview was actually quite humble, to be fair, if you watch the whole thing and listen to it. He did say his team didn't deserve to win. He said the performance wasn't up to scratch of what he expected, and that they didn't do things right in the first half, and then they struggled to get it right in the second half. So I thought it was quite a good interview, actually, considering normally he does absolutely whinge his tits off. Mike, what did you make of the whole situation with Klopp and the result?
Yeah, I was impressed with Fulham, to be fair, but Liverpool didn't play that well, to be honest. They in patches. But yeah, I did catch the whole that interview like you on the back of that tweet someone put. And he was, to be fair, he was actually very humble about it and saying that they didn't deserve anything out of that, or certainly didn't deserve more than a draw out of that game. I thought Nunes took his goal really well. That was such a good Good goal. But yeah, Liverpool didn't quite get going, did they, in that? But you have to, I suppose, give credit to Fulham and the way they played.
Yeah, I agree. And it's nice. I mean, I always put Forest down as the surprise package this year, but it could be Fulham now. Steve, Fulham are a bit more settled this year. 2 years ago, they spent 100 million and went straight back down. They haven't done that this year. They've been quite shrewd in what they've done. Mitrovic, we've all said on this panel, is he good enough or not good enough for the Premier League? I know it's only one game, but what did you make of his performance personally? Would you like to have taken him now, seeing what he did against Liverpool?
I think credit needs to be given to Silva. His tactics were spot on. He could have just done what most managers have done and just, it's Liverpool, we need to respect them. We need to sit back and contain them. He did the polar opposite. The players were looking to break and attack at every given opportunity. And some of the passing from them was fabulous. It really did pull Liverpool apart, and they didn't really have an answer. Which, game one, Liverpool got to make a big impression. They've got to get those 3 points. They've got to get the ball rolling to challenge for Man City, because I think Man City are just going to bulldoze everyone. I think they just thought they only had to turn up. And one thing that did really please me, and I don't care who argues with me, because I'll just keep arguing with him. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a crap player defensively. He hasn't got a clue on how to defend. He came out, and I did a tweet that basically said, I can detect things when they're not around me. I can see things when they're not happening. Really, when you can see
Mitrovic
behind you jumping and they're doing the goal, you muppet. He's such a poor defender. He's one of the worst defenders in the Premier League, and yet everyone just kisses his ass and says he's that great.
It's his attacking ability, though, isn't it?
For me, he's a midfielder.
Forward. Yeah.
For me, Henderson should be nowhere near that team, and Trent should be in his place. But they won't do that because it's Henderson and he's got the brand and he's captain and all that bollocks. All the bloke does is go sideways from one side to another. There's nothing about him. Yeah. So it was really pleasing that the Fulham players really ripped him a new one and ripped Liverpool a new one. And credit where credit's due, like Mike said, a fabulous point for him. I mean, in hindsight, they probably should have won, but for a bit of slack defending. Yeah. Pat on the back, really good to see him actually take a game to someone.
Mitrovic, what did you think of him?
Mitrovic, if he continues on that vein of form, he might have matured. He might have done what everyone didn't think he could do. And I think if he carries on like that, he's going to cause problems for everyone from that point of view.
This guy said he's matured. This guy says he'll do it. I always wanted to believe it, though, and I'm hoping it's going to be right. And there'll be a lot of Newcastle fans in the chat, because there is normally a Newcastle channel. But on a Tuesday night, we like to talk to all Premier League and talk about all the games and listen to other points of views and stuff like that as well. Someone wants to ask a question about Story, and I know I'll probably used to it, won't be too bothered about it. I don't know what the question is, but David, if you want to ask it, ask away and we'll get to it when we can. But personally, I think they're in trouble in the shite. Emma loves a Brazilian. I'm not going to take that any further.
It's pleasing that you've got people coming on and being honest with what they like in their pastime and their private lives. But fair play, if that's what she likes, who are we to complain?
I love it. Roy, thank you very much for the 50 Corona again. It seems to be every show he's donating that. It's absolutely incredible. Like I say, the offer's there, mate. If you want to come on Thursday night, please contact me. And if you want to come and talk about Newcastle, you're more than welcome. Very good evening to the chat from Paul. I think Fulham may stay up and Mitrovic keeps scoring. It makes all the difference. It does. Hi, Les. Hi, Paul. And start talking to each other for a little bit now. Evening, Paul. Have you had the Les Paul out today?
Is Les's surname BN?
No, it's Stapleton. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful night. Thanks, Nelly, for joining as always. She'll be back on next Wednesday for the Gallagher Girls. It has been a hot day. We need Newcastle to win the cup badly. We would love to win the cup, but
Angela, let me just manage your expectations. Newcastle aren't going to win anything this season.
I love it. I'm not going to argue with you or against you on that one because a cups, anything can happen. Palace might win a cup, you never know. I know. I was expecting a few more laughs from the other two there on that one.
We gave it a good crack last season.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. What's he saying? I don't support Newcastle. Don't recognise them as the legitimate football team, as I've already said. I just don't know what to say to it. To be completely,
Just jealous by the sound of it.
Jealous, baffled me. I just don't get it. It just
He's great at cream pies, though. Got to give him.
Yeah, you can look what his latest comment he's just put in now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to
Get
put
him
him in
out.
a little time out for now. There we go.
Baz, if you trigger him, do you reckon cream pie will explode?
Yes.
Exactly. I see some of
Brilliant.
the other comments. Yeah, get him on the block list.
Yeah, he's. I put him in a timeout. Yeah, but Palace got the easiest draws. Oof. We got easy draws, and we got to a semi-final, wasn't it? We got to the semi-final of the League Cup against Brentford and got beat when they were in League One.
We had Burnley in the second round, even though it's a Premier League team, but a really team who was struggling, and we still go out on penalties.
How long did Welbeck extend his contract for? There's one for you, Mike.
Yeah, we got him for a year. So
Another
I think,
year.
yeah. So
all right. Here's the Castori one. I've ordered my shirt. Still waiting 3 weeks. No reply to emails. Anything. I'm just sure what to do. I've paid my money. To be honest with you, David, I keep emailing them.
Yeah.
There is I'm sure someone put a new Twitter account on Castori complaints or something like that. If you go on there, they've got email addresses that might be different to what you're used to. But Castori have been absolutely terrible. Free cream pie guy. Your complete apathy for human rights into regimes affecting the Premier League sure is depressing. I don't get why people want to talk about stuff like that. We're here to talk about football and football only. Anyway, Bournemouth. Great win. 7 shots, 3 on target. Looking at the stats, it looks like Villa really should have won the game. Only 2 shots on target again, though. It's very terrible for them. But Bournemouth, Mike, obviously been down in on the coast. They're not your best of friends. But what did you make of their start to Premier League life?
Yeah, it was a good start, but it was against Villa, who are like, I don't know. What can you say? Steven Gerrard, he's like high expectations, but I don't know. The whole start was just awful for them, and it's like, it just seems like he can't find a winning combination with the amount of players he's got. He's just, I don't know. But yeah, fair dues to Bournemouth. Good start. You want your first game to get off to a winning start, and they did.
Mike, just quickly, talk us through how you afforded that zip line behind you.
It does look good, to be fair. Another thing I noticed in the stats is the passes. Villa seem to have a lot of 571 passes along the ground. I don't know how many of them were between the back
passes
four.
mean nothing, Baz, until you do something in the final third.
This is very true.
Diego Collis had an absolute stinger on his debut as well.
He did.
Just like cream pie, he's always executing in the final third.
No one like Stevie G. I love it. Who's going to be the first manager sacked? Steve, now that they've brought that up. Do you think Gerrard? I think Lampard.
100%.
They've done
He's
quite
out
well
of his
now.
depth.
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers might go.
Yeah, that's true as well. Leicester are going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Not so sure, because I still think they'll keep the spine of their team, apart from obviously Schmeichel leaving, because they want 90 million for Fofana. Chelsea won't pay that. They've said 70 million, take it or leave it. Maddison, they want 70 million from Newcastle. Newcastle bottled it, and they're not going to come back. And
60 million, I've heard.
Tielemans, they've said he's not for sale, so they'll probably keep him, but he'll end up leaving on a free next summer, I reckon.
Oh, there's a good question. How is David Weir getting on his new role, and how much is he different from Dan Ashworth?
It's pretty seamless, to be honest, because he was working under Ashworth, so he's basically taken up that role. Was trained by Ashworth, worked under him, saw what he did. So it's been pretty seamless, but I guess it's the long term we're going to see, like in the next couple of years, really.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But back to the game, Bournemouth obviously scoring. Lerma, I didn't realise he was actually still there, to be fair. I thought he was moving on. Scored after 2 minutes, more on 80 minutes, condemning Villa to a first defeat of the season in the first game. Pete, do you think Bournemouth got a chance of staying up? I mean, I've got them to go straight back down again.
I did as well. I mean, it's only one game, so it's going to have to be on the next possible few games and see where they go from there.
5 games and see where they are after
so.
that point. I was hoping Danny was going to be here because obviously he's a Leeds fan and that's who we're going to talk about next. And it would be nice to see Steve's reaction because obviously Leeds got 3 points. Mind you, I've got a bet with a guy at work that Newcastle finish above Leeds and it's £100 bet. So we better finish above freaking Leeds, which I think we will because I don't think Leeds have got enough. But they opened the score when, Wolves went ahead. Everyone thought, all right, here we go. Wolves are going to do something again. But then Rodrigo, who never scored. And then there was an own goal. And again, possession, Wolves dominated it. But like Pete said, if you don't do anything with the ball and you don't do it in the final third, those stats are pointless. 60% and 546 passes means nothing when you're losing 2-1. On the basis of the balance of the game, though, Steve, who deserved the 3 points?
I mean, it was a bland game, let's be honest. One of the most boring games I've seen for a long time, which is no surprising because Leeds were involved. I'm sorry to hear that, Vicky.
Be nice. Be nice.
I mean, if you look at what they've signed, they spent they knew they were getting 100 million for Phillips and for Rafinha, and Rafinha was never worth that money. Barcelona
have they actually got that money yet though? Because they haven't been able to register the player yet, Barcelona. So I don't know if the actual transfer fee's been triggered yet.
But the thing is, they knew they were going to get that money, so they've spent it. They've bought in 6 players, and all of them are absolute dross. And all the Leeds fan base will agree with me on their kicking off left, right, and centre over the players and how poor they are. They've failed to find another striker. So if Bamford gets injured, and we all know he's made of glass, they're in big trouble. And they failed to get a left back. And at the end of the day, Firpo is absolutely useless. He epitomises all of what Leeds is, useless. So, yeah, it was disappointing to see them winning. I'm not going to lie. When Padden scored in the 6th minute, I was thinking, yeah, smash these. And yeah, I was fuming. I'm not going to lie. But fair play. They found a way to get the 3 points. Relegation fodder is what they will be this season. But they're scrapping around for points and desperate for their lives.
Dart's goal was a worldie. I'm guessing Sarr's goal. Did you all see the game last night? Sarr scoring from the halfway line.
I've seen that goal.
Wow.
But I don't like this whole because he scored a worldie. We should be signing him. Did you see his penalty?
Oh God, that was.
It kind of evens itself out, doesn't it?
How the hell have they kept that front line though? It's like it's unreal.
Dennis,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
I have heard they want to loan them out to a Premier League club, and then they want them back if they go straight back up. But they need the wages off the books. So I've said we should be really loaning Dennis and Sarr and offering Murphy the other way. And then they can keep Murphy if they stay in the Championship, and we can take their players.
To be honest, you need to be loaning out players like Bruce and Dan Burns. Terrible players.
No chance.
I love it. What did the panel make of Sarr's performance yesterday? I mean, like I say, he scored a worldie, but he missed a. What was he doing with that penalty? I do not know.
I mean, to be fair, West Brom should have actually stuffed them. To be fair,
West Brom, they should have come out 7 or 8-1 winners.
Yeah, really should have. Yeah,
They should have, but it's Steve Bruce.
Exactly.
I knew you didn't say that.
It is Steve Bruce, but Steve Bruce will go down as hands down the best manager Newcastle have ever had. And the way he treated him and pushed him out of the club was unacceptable, in my opinion.
You had him. He says this every week. He says it every week. Right, let's get on to some happy news. Pete, what a result. I know it was only Forest, but we weren't sure what Forest was going to turn up with them having 11 new players, maybe even 12, I think it was by the end of it. And they made all 5 substitutions on the day as well. I couldn't keep up. But that there is just dominance. 23 shots, 10 on target, 62% possession, 469 passes, 2-0 win. 2 excellent goals. Shaw's strike, he's done it before. It was a carbon copy almost.
It's a toe punt, and
Shut up.
Wilson never meant it.
We'll remove him for this little bit because that is terrible. You're going to calm down now.
Blatant
There
toe
we
punt.
go. You've done it against Burnley. It was almost carbon copy. You hit the post in the same place. It was amazing. And to be fair, Wilson's goal I thought was an own goal at one point because it was very close to the defender's foot, but it was very clever finish. It's great to get 3 points, Pete.
Yep, it certainly is. But first of all, I've got to say again, massive respect for John Sinclair, 100 quid into the food bank before the game.
Because you didn't listen to me, and I told him Botman was coming, and he kept on disagreeing with me. And then he said, "I'll put £100 in the food bank," and Botman signs.
But yes, we dominated the game from start to finish. Frustrating not to score in the first half because we had a couple of opportunities. I think Joelinton's got to be taking one of them, unfortunately. But again, he was superb in the midfield. Again, yesterday, I was a bit surprised that Botman didn't start, but again, I think Eddie is going to kind of slowly introduce him into the side like he did with Bruno, because I thought Dan Burn was excellent at the back again yesterday, along with Fabian Schär as well. I thought Wilson was quite quiet, I've got to admit, before he scored the goal as well.
He made some poor runs, didn't he?
He did, but again, the service at times wasn't there at times. I
just thought he was on his heels quite a lot.
I thought Miggy should have had opportunities to use his right foot a lot more as well, rather than keep twisting, turning to try and get back onto his left a lot of the time. But I thought second half, the goals are now gonna come definitely, and of course that was just an absolute rocket from Fabian Schär as well to put us 1-0 up, and good little flick on for Wilson today, give us to double our lead for 2, and that was us winning the game because I thought Forest didn't offer a thing. In the game at all. I thought Pope may as well have had a deck chair put in front of him as well. And what I did get, what Forest were doing here, like when they get a corner, all their players are
that routine was so funny on it.
And as soon as the corner is whipped in and they're into the box, Nick Pope just comes out and just says, "Oh, I'll have that."
I mean, if it works, it looks really clever, but it looked absolutely stupid on the day, didn't it? Because they didn't really get anywhere near the ball.
And Jesse Lingard was even playing.
Oh, yeah. Well, apparently, if you look at the stats, he was in the top 10. He was top 10 of the other 14 clubs for ball carrying distance, which I was like, was he? Because I can't remember him even, other than having that one shot in the first half that Shaw blocked brilliantly, I can't remember him actually doing anything.
No,
weird.
Just really, really didn't, because it was just from our dominance into the games. So again, go back to Lingard. He wasn't even there, was he? And another question for Forest. What are you thinking of appointing that ball-headed prick at your football club, Lee Charnley?
Yeah, I don't know how he's got a job. They came to Newcastle, they've gone home with no points, and they've took Lee Charnley with them. It's crazy. Were you any worried at all at any point in the game that it wasn't going to happen for us, or were you sitting there at half time going, it's definitely coming?
I thought, no, the goals are going to come. They've got to come now. At some point, they will start to come.
Yeah, I thought it was a dominant performance. Mike, did you get to see any of the game or any of the highlights?
Yeah, I saw the highlights. Like, you're totally dominant. I mean, they basically got a completely new team, haven't they? It's going to take them ages to gel and to get settled. And I'm pretty sure they target the teams that come up with them, like Bournemouth, Fulham, and maybe teams like Everton and that. But you totally deserve that. And Shah's goal was, I mean, I watched someone put a video of the 2 goals that he scored, and they were virtually identical. It was mad.
It was just, I think the one against Burnley was a bit further back, but it was almost identical. Very quickly, thank you, Callum, for subscribing. Please go and check out Pete's channel as well. He does some great stuff. And I hope you enjoy what you're seeing tonight. It is a very different show to what the channel name is. It's all about the Premier League. And we do talk about Newcastle as well, of course. Who will finish higher, Man U or Newcastle? Newcastle. Steve, I don't know why I'm coming here because we're just going to get a load of crap, but what did you make of the game?
I mean, given the number of players that Forest have signed, I don't know, they seem quite excited about their recruitment and now it's working. I think it's like 11 or 12 players they've signed, something ridiculous.
12, I think. And they're still trying to sign that Ben White on. Ben White, Gibson White or whatever he's called.
White, yeah. Gibbs White.
Gibbs White.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to sign that number of players and expect them to gel together immediately. Given the spirit that Cooper sort of generated last season to get them up, it could have inadvertently, cost themselves a little bit with that strategy. But I think it's just straightforward for Newcastle. Two relegation sides battling it out with each other. Forest didn't really have an answer. Let's be honest. And like I said, blatant toe pump for the goal, first one, give him a bit of confidence, and then
I tell you what, I wish I could toe punt the ball that far.
a little scuff from Callum Wilson. It was in hope. It wasn't planned or anything like that, and he just got lucky really with it, I think. But 3 points is 3 points from that scenario.
I love it. You are right though about Forest. I mean, Fulham did it like we mentioned at the start 2 years ago. They spent 100 million and bought all those players in and went straight back down again. Forest is sort of gambling on their future and trying to stay in the league the first time of asking by bringing on. I mean, they had to do it anyway because they had lots of loan players. We wish them all the best. It's great to see them back in the Premier League. If they don't gel fast enough, though, I do think they're going to go down. But hopefully they'll be in a position to bounce straight back up with the parachute payments and all that sort of stuff. So, they'll give it a good go. And then Henderson, even though he let 2 goals in, I mean, he didn't really let them in. He couldn't save them. He still actually had a very good debut for them. So they've got a bit of a chance.
He was trying to play a lot of balls and Forest were trying to play out from the back as well.
I
didn't think his distribution was good.
We got a goal through bad distribution, didn't we?
Well, we got the second goal because they tried to play out from the back and we capitalised on that.
Yep. And I used to always condemn us doing that last season, but we seem to be playing out from the back with loads of confidence, which is nice to see. What will Levy Colwell on loan from Chelsea bring to Brighton despite Tony Bloom has never been keen on coming loans? It's one for you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be part of the Cucurella deal. That Cucurella went one way for an obscene amount of money, and we got Levi Colwell on loan. But if anything, he offers us cover on that left side. If we don't manage to get anyone in, he's left-sided. I know he's predominantly a centre half, but he can play as left back as well. So he definitely gives us cover in that area, and I think you'll see him play more as it goes on and he settles into the team.
Interesting. Well, we're halfway through the show, so guys, please remember, if you are enjoying it and you are new to it, please check out Pete's channel. It's in the description below. Please hit the subscribe button on this one. Please hit the thumbs up. It means a massive to us if you do that, because it really does help to the YouTube algorithm and all that sort of stuff. Please consider becoming a member. The link is in the top of the chat if you would like to donate that way by being a member. We do prizes and all that sort of stuff. And if you'd like to donate, $sign in the bottom right-hand corner. It all goes back into prizes, charity, and also to help me get my shed in the bottom of the corner so the missus can kick me out the house and I can do a mic. That's the dream. Let's make the dream work. Forest had 11 behind the ball 75% of the time. They did, yeah. And we will. Vicky thinks Leeds are going to have a good season. You never know. Anyway, on to title contenders. Spurs, and they really are title contenders this year in my eyes. Southampton are relegation contenders, but they've still got James Ward-Prowse, and he's in my fantasy team, so thank you for the 7 points.
What about the football team?
Which one?
You said James Ward-Prowse was in your fantasy team.
Yeah, when he was in, he'd obviously played for Southampton, but let's face it, I mean, they're not looking good, are they? But there's Spurs. I personally think Spurs are title contenders this year. Mike, do you agree or not?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, we'll probably go on to Man City. I can't see anyone pass them at the moment, but I think Spurs are going to be closer this year than they've been. The squad they got is unreal, and you think most of the new players didn't even play. Obviously, Southampton being carried by James Ward-Prowse again, but yeah, no, really impressed with them. I thought, a bit of a shaky start, but once they got going. Harry Kane played as a midfielder again, and
it's a weird one, that one, isn't it? But
it
it seems to be working.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's a position he can eke out to prolong his career, kind of thing. But they didn't miss him up front. They had other players for him. Yeah, exactly. So
Charlison to come in as well. Yeah. You never know. Alan Shearer's record might be safe unless Haaland stays at Man City for the rest of his career. But I can't see Harry Kane breaking it if he's going to play this deep role, to be honest with you. But what's good for the team, Conte will tell him to play there because it's working. Pete, what did you make of Spurs' performance?
Yeah, it was just totally dominant. Southampton just couldn't get at them, can they? And I mean, the own goal was very comical. I mean, that's really poor, isn't it? To concede, and that's a team that's really going to be up against it this season as well. They were going to be in a massive, could well be in a big scrap there this season as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Southampton were just totally dominated by a very good Spurs side who are looking really, really good and definitely title contenders as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Steve, do you agree with all that, or do you have a different view on Spurs this season?
No, I think the recruitment's been outstanding, and I think Spurs fans will be buoyant over that because for once, Daniel Levy has clearly put his hand in his pocket and sanctioned these transfers, and I just think he's in the garden, Vicky.
In the garden, yeah.
He's on day release.
It's excellent recruitment. They've looked at every position. They want to have backup as well. And when you think they beat Southampton 4-1, I mean, Southampton, they're a funny club. They're either brilliant or they're horrific. And they've done that many occasions. But to dismantle them 4-1 with Son and Kane not being on the score sheet shows the depth that Spurs have got. And I think if they continue the upper hand they seem to have got over Man City and Liverpool over the last couple of seasons in their sort of games that they've had against each other, win those games and we could be looking at a different title holder.
I think Spurs have got a good chance, and Conte will be one of the main big reasons, not just the players on the pitch, but he demands, performances, and we've seen him kick a few things on the sideline in the past, so I wouldn't want to be messing with him, I can tell you that. I think Levy's scared of Conte, to be honest with you. He had to open his wallet. Are Leeds going to beat Southampton next week? Oh, that's a question for a different show, that one, Vicky. Right, next game, who have we got? We've got Chelsea. 1-0 win away to Everton. Obviously, they got beat off Everton last season. Dominated the game again. Shots on target, possession, passes. It was all Chelsea, but it took a penalty to win the game. Pete, what did you make of it as a performance for Chelsea? Do you see them as title contenders this year, or are they still missing something? Sterling obviously going there, which was a bit of a surprise.
It's a strange. I only saw the highlights of this game. I mean, this is Chelsea now, the new ownership, so it may take a bit of time. I think they might finish out the top 4 this season. I've predicted them to do that.
Wow.
But, yeah, I think we all expected it's against an Everton team who are also really up against it this season. Haven't got a fit striker. Calvert-Lewin's out for 3 months. Having to play Gordon up front.
I'm surprised they did that when they got Rondon still.
Rondon's still suspended because of his red card against Brentford last season. So the suspension would have carried forward.
Fair enough. Vicky, I think you're smoking something, to be honest with you. I don't think you're going to be challenging top. If Newcastle aren't challenging top 4, you ain't challenging top 4, trust me. But I like your optimism. Steve doesn't, but I do. Mike, what do you make of Chelsea? The signings they've made, and what do you think of Conor Cody going to Everton?
Yeah, I like Chelsea. Like, it's just weird, the whole Werner situation. The fact that they haven't really got a striker, have they? It's like, it's just bizarre. I don't quite understand. And out of those top teams, they looked quite uninspiring, really. I thought Cody's an odd one. He's obviously fallen out with the manager of Wolves. Something's gone on there. He's but it's just an odd signing. I don't quite understand.
Odd what he said as well. I mean, he says he turned down Newcastle and West Ham to go to Everton. I mean,
he's actually a Liverpool supporter.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I wouldn't read into that too much. He turned clubs down. I think that's PR talk.
Yeah, so, I think that's a load of bollocks.
yeah.
Probably the best way to put it. Steve, do you see Chelsea as title contenders this year, or do you think they're missing that striker again that they thought they had in Lukaku, but they've obviously sent him back to Inter Milan?
Well, I mean, Newcastle will be devastated because their prime striker target has turned them down to go to Leipzig, and could have picked him up for 20 million in Werner, and that would have been probably your best signing because let's face it.
I would have liked him, to be fair.
A load of dross right now, so he would have improved it massively. As Tuchel come out, which I think is poor management, and said the number 9 is jinxed. Well, if you did your recruitment right, you would not have that problem. And if you trusted in the youth that you've got, that you keep farming out year on year and not giving them the chance to develop, then you might have actually developed one of your own. At the end of the day, there was only ever 2 strikers.
They let one of them go, didn't they? Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, well, there was that as well, but there's only real 2 out-and-out outstanding strikers to sign. Nunes, who I'm not convinced on, but we'll see. And Haaland, I mean, he's just a machine, and he proved that first game in 2 goals scored. Already got 1 in his previous game, so he's 3 in 2 games already. So, it's difficult for Chelsea, but they spunk 90 million on Lukaku, and it was a big waste.
Yeah, massive waste.
But I don't see him in the top 4, and Newcastle won't. Newcastle.
No, we're not even entertaining the top
10,
4,
let alone the top 4.
Come on, top 8 easily, especially when we signed Paqueta. Moving on to Sunday, then another team that I thought would struggle. Brentford managed to scrape a draw after being 2-0 down to Leicester. Leicester are going to be a funny team this year as well, as we've already mentioned on the show. Got a lot of depth and near the FFP boundary line. They need to sell, but who are they going to sell at what price? It's all very interesting. There's a bit of cat and mouse, a game of chicken going on. I think at the end of the window, they're going to really drop their pants and go, crap, we need money. There'll be a quick fire sale of someone. But Leicester going 2-0 up. Pete, you just expect them to hold out, but Brentford shown some resolve that they had last year to pull a 2-2 draw.
I mean, from what I've seen from the highlights, I mean, that was a good comeback for Brentford. I thought they were going to be really, really a team to be really struggling since Eriksen's not there anymore. But no, felt great at them. They do play some really good football under Thomas Frank.
Yep.
And no doubt he would have had a word with them and says, right, we can get back into this game. And give him credit for that, just for coming from 2-0 down against normally a very good Leicester team who could be really a team that could really, really struggle in terms of not getting players. They're having to play the same players.
It's interesting, isn't
it may come back to haunt them a little bit.
Yeah. Still need a goalkeeper, don't they?
Yeah.
Dubravka, obviously, one that's hot.
Danny Ward, I don't think he's that good. Is it Danny Ward?
I think so. Yes, Danny Ward. Yeah, but Dubravka is obviously someone they're potentially interested in, and this is where the Maddison deal could come very interesting near the end of the window if they really want a goalkeeper. Mike, what did you make of both teams? Do you see both teams struggling this year, or do you think Leicester will still be thereabouts at the top 10?
I don't know. It's like it's if I was a Leicester fan, I'd be a bit worried about what's going on there. Brentford, I have to say, Thomas Frank at half time, he tweaked that team. He went to a back three. He'd been playing a back four, and totally caught Brendan Rodgers with his pants down and got them right back into it. It's like really well tactically worked. Great coach, and I hope they stay up. They were in my tips to struggle, and like at 2-0 down, I thought, here we go. But you know, he tactically outfought Rodgers at the end of that game, and they did well to get back into that.
Yeah, he's a very good manager. I said I'd take Tuchel before Eddie Howe, not Tuchel, Thomas Frank, before Eddie Howe took the job. To be fair, and I think I still think they're going to struggle because Eriksen was fantastic, wasn't he, Steve? At the end of last season, he was only there for 6 months, but he rejuvenated their campaign because they were really struggling. What do you think they're going to do this year, and what did you make of the result?
I think Eriksen's a fantastic signing for Man United. I think it's probably the best bit of recruitment they will do. But I think without him, Brentford will be missing a vital cog in their ability to win games. Although saying that Dansgaard is a decent player, and he proved that for Denmark in the Euros. Can he fill that void? I'm not sure. I don't think he's Eriksen quality, but I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people hate Thomas Frank and they don't like Brentford as a team, but they've got the spirit. The spirit's there, and if you've got spirit in a team, that can really propel you forward. And I still think they're going to be okay.
It's going to be scrappy,
as good as last season, but I still think they'll be okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be close. Right, Mike, your time to shine. Old Trafford, Pascal Gross again. And look at that. I know obviously the possession stats and the passes again, all in Man United's favour. But the one thing that did happen on the day, there was 3 goals scored, and not one Man United player had the ball in the back of the net.
Hey.
What a fabulous result again. It's not a fluke. It's not the first time. It's you've done this before.
Well, Pascal Gross loves scoring. He's got 6 against them now. So he's like, I mean, they tried a high press, and Graham Potter just said, well, if you're going to do that high press, we're just going to bypass that, which is what they did. Played it up to Welbeck a lot, who was absolutely phenomenal, by the way. And then we just played it around them. And I mean, why not play it long when you've got someone as slow as Maguire playing? You know, it's like we exploited them. I've got to mention the referee was dire, despite the fact we won. There's 2 huge decisions that he just totally didn't give. One was a sending off McTominay.
Yeah, that was horrific. Horrific. I want to just point something very quickly out about that. The Brighton player did go in with 2 feet himself. He did look like he jumped. He did,
but if he did jump, and that's possibly why he gave him the yellow card rather than the red. But the penalty was even more horrific. How that wasn't given, I don't know. But and at that time we were 2-0 up, and I think that would have just killed the game completely. But yeah, no, just totally deserved that. Bizarre tactics by Ten Hag. He tried to play with almost like a false 9, but he played Eriksen in that role, which is just weird.
It's not his strengths, is it?
No, not at all. And actually, in the second half, when he put Eriksen back and put Van der Beek up, they were a lot better. They had a lot better shape, and they caused us a bit more problems until we made some substitutions and dealt with that. But yeah, no, I mean, what a start! You know, it's good because obviously I was a little bit worried because a new manager, you start thinking it's that team starts performing because it's a new manager, but it is Man United, and their midfield is awful. McTominay and Fred are just not good enough for that team. You know, and I'll be surprised if they start this week. I think they'll be out. But I mean, the Ronaldo thing's just weird as well. I don't know what's going on there. They either need to get rid of him or get him in. It's just odd. But even now, the transfers they're trying to make are just like desperate. You know, it's not like it's not like Man United of old when the targets seem to have some like validity to them.
Yeah,
it's just awful. But no, really pleased and like I say, we deserve that. And you know, Lallana as well. Lallana was class, like total, and probably one of his best games for us.
That's good. He can be hit and miss, can't he?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He hasn't had many great games for us, but that was one of his best. To be fair.
Pete, what do you make of the whole situation at Man United? The Glazers are obviously not spending money; they're taking all that money out of the club.
It's the same old problems.
Yeah.
Still at the football club. It's still a club in massive disarray at the moment. It looks now incredibly hostile there. I've seen the pictures. You've got fans now turning on each other, fighting with each other now in the crowd. I mean, that shouldn't be happening when it comes to supporting a football club. A fan base completely turning on each other. It's incredibly hostile and toxic at that football club at the moment.
It's so lovely to see.
The thing with Man United, if you look at it, I mean, you see it all over Twitter, you see it all over Facebook. The constant outcry to sort of protest, not pay for tickets and not go into the ground, not go attend the games and stuff like that. At the end of the day, despite what the Glazers have done and what they do and siphoning money out of the club's value, yes, it's dropped because of their probably poor business acumen, but they're not bothered by that because when that club, despite not being in Champions League football and just performing the way they have the last sort of 10 years now, is the biggest club in the world for basically commercial income, it doesn't really bother them, and there isn't any way any protest or any kind of continued protests are going to make any difference to the Glazers selling that club. It's just not going to happen because it's a cash cow for them, and unless someone comes in with stupid money way in excess of the club's value, they're not going to sell it. So you can protest all you like and you can do it until the sun don't shine. The Glazers will stay there and they'll just sit there and completely ignore the fans because the biggest issue for Man United isn't the UK fans, isn't the fans that go to the games in the Premier League. It's the Asian market because it doesn't matter what they do, when they do it, how they do it. Those fans in Asia just keep flocking back and buying merchandise like it's going out of fashion and just basically funding their dividends effectively and the way that they run that club. So for them, they're not that bothered. They don't care. And no one's going to come in with I think it's 2.3 billion value now and offer them 6 billion, which I think is what they would consider, 3 times the value. No one's going to come in and do that because when you do buy that club, immediately you've got that huge debt that goes with it as well that you've got to fund. And no one's going to do that. So United fans have just got to accept the fact, just a bit like Newcastle fans did with Mike Ashley, that he's there to stay unless something ridiculous comes in and it's too good for them to say no.
Perfectly said, Michael. Steve has just summarised Mike Ashley. And why doesn't Rio Ferdinand have a whip around and buy the club? That's going back to the comments a while ago where he told Newcastle fans they should have a whip around and put the money where their mouth is and buy their own players. It's nice to see the shoe is on the other foot now. Do you think Man U could come back and win their next game? I mean, Man United have still got quality players in there. They've got a great manager. They're shown in pre-season they can beat top teams. It's just getting it out of them on the pitch. But they're a club that in disarray, and I reckon Ten Hag is now thinking, why the fudge did I take this job? There's a couple of questions in here. Emma, how much do Newcastle have to spend this window? We probably have maybe 80 to 100 million left to spend. We're looking at 2 or 3 players, but your guess is as good as anyone's. who was going to win the Premier League? I think we all said City, didn't we, last
City,
week?
yeah, still
Yeah.
City.
Still say
And then Mike, Vicky wants to ask you the same question. You're saying City as well. Do you think Man U could come over with that one? Yes, they could, Nelly, but it's going to be interesting. Everton bottom five at Christmas. Lampard first manager sacked. I hope so. I got 4-1, which I think is quite a good price, to be fair. Right, there's one more game to touch on very quickly. Obviously, Man City, the team that we think is going to win the league, they're going to be very hard to dislodge this season. 76% of possession, passes 833, the highest in the Premier League at the weekend. Only 2 shots on target, though, and scored the 2 goals, 14 off target. But when you've got Haaland in your team and he's the one getting them on target, you've got a good chance of scoring goals, Mike. And fantasy points, get in. He won the penalty, deserved. I still think he was getting onto the ball and putting it into an open net. And the second goal, what a ball from Kevin De Bruyne. And how quick is he, by the way? Everyone forgets how quick Haaland actually is. And he eats up the ground. How impressed were you?
Yeah, I was really impressed. The guy, it's like he played for him all his life. He just fitted straight in there. The runs he makes are intelligent. And when you got De Bruyne firing in balls like that, it's like formidable. It's scary really, because you just can't see anyone. I know you're saying Tottenham, but I just can't see anyone past them, to be honest.
I just think Tottenham will be challengers. I think Man City.
Yeah. I think they'll be closer. I mean, the squad Tottenham have got, they should be, but that Haaland's just different level. That whole team is just so class. It's scary, and they're just going to totally dominate again. And I'd say it's boring, but actually they're good to watch. It isn't boring. It's actually good.
It's mental. I mean, the amount of passes that they play per game. I mean, you're talking like 200 extra than any other team, which is absolutely incredible. Good evening, chaps in chat. Hi. Vicky wants to know why Calvin Phillips is on the bench. He's got to bide his time, just like Botman at Newcastle and other new players that have gone into clubs. He was not just going to walk into the side. He's got to earn his place. Pete, what did you make of Man City's performance? And obviously West Ham, do you think they're still the top 6 contenders this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know what the result was going to be. City were going to go there and pick up the 3 points. I thought West Ham were really poor. I thought they would have been put up a bit of a more fight, but what David Moyes come out and said that they just win at it at the game, and hopefully he'll give them a bit of a rollicking and get them ready for the next game, because I can see something with that West Ham side. They are capable of challenging for something. Definitely a European spot.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did actually say West Ham were sitting off them, which is very unlike them, Steve, because West Ham normally, especially at home, they like to play a high press. They've got Bowen, Declan Rice, Antonio. They've all got pace to close people down quickly. They just didn't seem to be that interested. I know it sounds weird to say, but first game of the season, you expect them to be like dog on heat, don't you?
I think they've signed a lot of players. So again, it's that gelling aspect, isn't it? But I think when you look at the team sheet and you've got Haaland there, you're like, it's going to be a struggle. And I think they were just too respectful, which is the biggest pitfall that any sort of what is defined as a smaller club compared to the bigger club takes. I mean, yes, Man United have had their issues, but Brighton went into that game and they were like, fuck you, we're really going to put you to the sword and we're going to take the game to you. And they couldn't cope. And Fulham did the same against Liverpool. You've got to play that way. You've got to be tight at the back, but you just got to take these games to these big clubs and really show them who's boss. I mean, Palace did that last season against Man City, home and away. They didn't have an answer to us. So if you just turn up and just respect them, you're just going to roll over and get crumpled. It's as simple as that. And I think West Ham were really guilty of that on Sunday.
Do you think they're still going to be top 6, potentially, West Ham? Good cup run, European Cup run again, maybe?
Nah, I don't think they will. I think they'll just fail again, purely on the basis that teams like Arsenal and sort of where they've recruited probably better and better players, spent more money on better players, I think will give those the edge over West Ham. And I think West Ham, it's 7th or 8th again this
Well,
season.
7th gets a Europe, that really
Conference.
poor European conference, whatever it's called. So 7th is not a bad spot to be in. It's kind of where we want to try and push ourselves to. I know we're not probably going to get there, but you never know. Right, let's have a look at the league table. This is the top of the table. Put your hands up if your team's in that picture.
Pricks.
So we're denied a top 4 space by alphabetical order. Well, that's a bit weird though. Why aren't Brighton sitting in 4th? Because they're a B. So why is Man City ahead of Brighton? The goal difference is the
Goal
same.
difference.
Yeah, goal difference, because Brighton conceded a goal.
We conceded one.
Oh, it's goals for. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'll let you off. I thought that was goal difference in the last column, but it's not. It's goals for. What a stupid place to put that. I thought it was goal difference, but there you go. That's why Brighton are below Newcastle then. But it's looking good for us. The surprise is in there, I guess. Brentford, Fulham, Leeds. You're not going to see them anywhere near the top 10.
Bournemouth.
The rest of them. Bournemouth, yeah, second. I mean, obviously, it's only the first game. But let's have a look at the bottom. Put your hand up if you can see your team. Come on, Steve. Put your hand up. And to be fair, there's not too many surprises down there at the bottom, apart from obviously Liverpool and West Ham. All the rest of them I expect to be in that kind of area. Maybe even Man United in that area, to be fair, the way they're going. The last talking point before we go, this was Alan Shearer's team of the week. 2 Newcastle players got in there, in Shaw and Bruno. Gross obviously gets in there. Mitrovic and Haaland all scored 2 goals each. Could have picked a array of midfielders, to be fair, but he's gone with Lema, Kulishevsky as well. Any changes you would make from that team, Mike?
No, I think that's a pretty fair team. I think from the weekend, I think it's I think that's fair enough.
I would have
got manager of the weekend as well. Steve, anyone you would take out and change with?
I would have had Anderson in there.
On what grounds? Instead of
He was unbelievable. That's what the grounds are.
Yeah. Did he score? Assist?
He didn't score or assist, but he was unreal.
That's how it works. Come on, you should know how it works by now when it comes to Premier League of the week. But Anderson, yes.
It looks clear how it works. Alan Shearer's biased, and he's got 2 Newcastle players in this. He's deluded.
There it is. PDP, any changes you would make?
No, I'll keep that the same as well.
I don't know. I'll probably take Lema out and put Joe Linton in. But that's me being biased. Let's see if there's anything in the comments that's worth having a quick chat about before we go. The one of Jersey Newcastle using the weekend.
That looks
one for the collection.
That looks incredible, yes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm guessing that Haaland is like Ibrahimovic, uncontrollable top player, uncontainable. Haaland's just a different breed, isn't he? 6th, 7th for Newcastle, 100%. That would be great. Evening, Baz, Todd, and the boys. I was getting a bit stick with other channels making side digs at your inside tips, but without doubt, my friend, this is the best stream. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. But my inside tips are all right sometimes. Haaland or Nunes, which one will get the most goals? There's a good question. Steve. Haaland or Nunes?
It's a no-brainer. It's clearly going to be Haaland. Nunes won't even get anywhere near him.
It's going to be interesting. I think you're right, though. Mike?
Yeah, Haaland for me.
Yeah, Haaland as well for me.
Haaland for them. And Zinchenko, he played well, to be fair. Zinchenko for Arsenal. But that's the show wrapped up. Thank you very much, boys, for coming on as always. We might be back next week. I don't know because I'm on night shift, so I'm trying to see who wants to host the show. I might ask Pete if he fancies it on his channel. But we'll talk about that on the outside. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And please check us out. We've got a day off tomorrow, but we're back on Thursday for the Fans Forum. We're back on Friday night with Mike to look ahead of the Brighton game on Saturday. And then we'll be back Saturday night to review the game. And then on Sunday, we'll be back for our transfer show. It's a busy few days. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again very soon. Take care, everyone.
All right.